Hi guys, Coach Bon here again. Diagnosed bipolar, self-diagnosis NPD. Right. So today I'll be talking about my narcissism. Okay. So earlier in a previous video, I did mention that it feels like when I observe or be aware. Oh, hi Jody Landis. Hi. When I observe or when I'm aware of the narcissism that I have, it feels like a split personality. Right. So I didn't articulate what I mean by that in great detail when I spoke about it because at that time it just feels very novel. Okay, it just feels very novel. But after experiencing it and really observing it this past 2 weeks, I do believe there's an element of compulsion there. Okay, with with the narcissistic personality, there's an element of compulsion, meaning here it seems to be automated in a lot of different ways. Okay. Now, if you've watched my previous two videos, it was about me trying to explain the actual deep reason why the narcissistic personality gets constructed in the first place. All right. The biggest motivation from a narcissist, from someone like me, is the constant shame and guilt that I experience. Okay. So, like I said, I probably am predisposed to feeling these things even more strongly due to my bipolarism, right? So it created eventually a self-defense mechanism that I suppose my mind constructed, and hence I'm now a narcissist. Okay. So at the edges of my mind, right, I can still feel that feeling of guilt and shame at the edges of my mind, even like right at the moment, I feel like a hot pain, like a memory of an injury. Okay, which I notice my narcissism will try to explain in different ways. Either try to numb me about it, either try to distract me using grandiose fantasies, or try to reinterpret what I feel as something else. Okay, but after really looking at the situation, it seems to be all pervasive. This feeling of guilt and shame, right? So in effect, I'm in pain almost every second of my life. All right, uh, which is pretty much a mystery. Like even now, why am I feeling pain? Why I'm feeling shame and guilt still? That my narcissism has to protect me from it. All right. In any case, there are a few things that I realize about the narcissistic side of me that feels like a programming. All right. So the next superpower, so to speak, that narcissists have, we have a fantasy. Okay. And a lot of you guys probably want to know what exactly that fantasy is. Okay. So I can't speak for other narcissists because I'm not in their shoes, but I probably can suspect it's similar to mine. Okay. So imagine for a second if every single day of your life, all right, You feel a certain kind of pain. Okay, let's say in this case, starvation. What's going to be in your mind all the time? What's in your shared fantasy? What will you be fantasizing? All right? What you're going to be fantasizing is obviously a world where you don't feel any starvation at all. A world where you are not starving. You're always full. Okay, if you guys want to know what kind of fantasy is in my mind right now, is a world where I don't feel any of this pain. And someone who doesn't feel any shame or guilt is someone who is perfect, who's always right. That's what's in my mind. That is what I'm trying to be. Someone who's perfect, so I will not feel the shame and guilt anymore. Because if you are perfect, no one can shame you. If you are perfect, why and you're good all the time, why you need to feel guilt? Obviously, my fantasy of someone who's perfect will be different from from another narcissist, depending on IQ level, depending on experiences, depending on culture and all that kind of stuff. But you get the gist. We already have that thing in our mind, what we want to become, so we do not feel this pain anymore. That's the first thing. We also have this fantasy of what a world could be that doesn't cause us pain anymore. Okay, we have an imagination. Okay, we, like for me, right? I blame certain things. I see certain things that causing me this much pain. All right. So again, it's based on your experiences, your cultural level, your IQ level. You'll see it at different stages in life. For most narcissists, they probably can't see past a person hurting them. Okay. Probably someone who's smarter will be able to say, you know what? Probably the society at large is doing it, or the education system, or this or that. Probably someone to even more bigger extent, they're going to be like Elon Musk, right? They want to go to a different world altogether and leave this world. You know, give up on this world already. Let's just go to to Mars, right? So in any case, every single narcissist is born already. Okay, lah, to use a word that uh, Chief Pete always uses, your dharma. We already have a dharma when we come into this world. You know what our dharma is? Just to try to escape pain, try to escape shame and guilt. The worst pain you can inflict on anyone is shame and guilt. Okay, good thing and bad thing. Anyway, that's the first thing that seems to look like a programming. Meaning here, as soon as we realize that we have that fantasy, we already have a programming to try to achieve those things. Okay, in a way, it's kind of fun, right? Keeps the pain away. So every single narcissist already has the dharma, right? And this dharma is so compelling to us. This vision, this fantasy is so compelling to us that it drives us every single day to achieve it. That is why we are so relentless. I mean, you can say, you know what, dude, why are you so impulsive? Why are you so crazy? Why do you want to do all these things? Why don't you just chill and relax? Well, the thing is, if we do chill and relax, we feel the pain. We feel the shame and the guilt. Again, and so we strive every single day. Every single day we strive to achieve this fantasy, to achieve this goal, to achieve this dharma of a world that doesn't cause us pain, of ourselves being so powerful so in control that we don't feel shame and guilt anymore. That we don't feel fear. Okay, fear is kind of like secondary to shame and guilt. Fear is something that comes off due to the shame and guilt, trying to escape shame and guilt. So, all you guys trying to figure out why a narcissist is so narcissistic is because of this, right? Trying to avoid pain at all costs. Somehow, some way, that's how we were built. Okay? Yeah. Okay. All right. So maybe this is for Jody Landis as well. So uh, I do. I mean, being very super sensitive and hyper vigilant obviously doesn't make you a narcissist. I mentioned in the previous video, it's when, like for myself, I confuse guilt and shame. To me, it's the same because the feeling is the same. All right. Uh, but for someone, okay, let's call them an empath. They do distinguish between these two things. All right, they do distinguish between these two things. I am unable to do so. The narcissism has been to such an extent it covers up both of these things. So when you look at me, it seems like I don't feel guilt at all. Meaning here, I don't think that I'm wrong. All right. So I haven't reached that. I wasn't able to develop empathy, for example, warm empathy in this case. All right. Meaning here, the only thing I can feel is my own emotions. So I don't have a conscience. But for someone who actually manages to get warm empathy, you can actually feel other people's emotions. I suppose. I have no idea. And I don't feel that. My whole life is about my own emotions. Okay, trying to cover up the pain, trying to cover up the guilt, trying to cover up the fear. All right. I mean, even for normal person, you probably feel this way as well. Meaning here, you probably feel a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, and you know it's a painful thing. But here's the deal: if you are not a narcissist, you actually feel other emotion, other positive emotions, which is great for you guys. You know, like for me, it's not balanced that way. It's just a constant stream of negative emotions. Uh, for most people, right? Even though you do feel pain from shame and guilt, I mean, everyone does that. It is balanced by you feeling other positive emotions. You know, like I suppose, like love, like happiness, perhaps. Right? The closest thing for me to feel these feelings, right, is uh, a sense of relief. Okay. So you asked if I feel happiness and joy. I do feel. I think I do feel happiness and joy, but it's not with regards to other people. So, for example, right, somehow, some way, listening to songs elicits a weird emotion in me. Okay, which I'm not really familiar with. Okay, meaning here I'm not really familiar with it. I can't generate it if I don't hear the song. I don't generate it if I interact with people. It's only generated if I hear the song. Okay, so the song is like in my estimation, it's just an inanimate object, right? For me, mostly when I interact with people, to me they are all dangers. Interacting people is a chance to feel more pain, is a chance to feel more shame. They can hurt me. All right. So I probably could feel happiness, but with regards to other human beings, it's a bit difficult. All right, because it's difficult for me to see them as someone who's going to give me a lot of joy. Okay. Obviously, this happens. It's different when I suppose when I'm love bombing. Okay. But even then, okay, let's talk about the love bombing phase. That feels like an automation as well. Yes, Jody Landis, you're absolutely correct. I see everyone around me as a threat, even the most well-meaning ones. All right, even the most well-meaning ones. Uh, I don't want to try. I don't want to make it sound like uh, we'll see you as enemies. Huh? I don't want to see you guys us seeing you as enemies. It's more like us. It's more like us being children and you being adults. You know, you have a potential to hurt us in a sense. Okay, we don't particularly see you as enemies. At least I don't. But there is a potential there for pain that always clouds the relationship. Okay, that always clouds the relationship. And then the narcissistic side of us obviously protects us by doing whatever it can to cover up that the shame and fear. So we actually can function because thinking about it, there's no way for me to function in my estimation if we did not have this coping mechanism. We'd probably kill ourselves already. You know, there's too much suffering to feel. So having given the coping mechanism to us, it comes with certain compulsions, which is very weird. It comes with certain compulsions. Uh, the first compulsion would be, like I said, our relentless drive to achieve that fantasy, to achieve that world or ourselves that are impervious to pain. Okay, so that's two. Now, this is another thing that's very, very interesting as well. The shared fantasy. I, I don't know who. Okay, you believe in God, so God obviously created this coping mechanism because it's pretty powerful actually if you want to use it for good or evil. It has a control mechanism. All right. In order for this defense mechanism, this narcissism to be held up in place, it needs validation. Feels like a. I spoke about this uh, when I was listening to HG2Do. Okay, he calls it fuel, right? Sam Becknin calls it narcissistic supply. Okay, it's just some form of energy. It just feels like some form of energy. Without it, we cannot sustain the the shared fantasy. I mean, the fantasy itself. We cannot sustain it. It requires it requires uh, other people to validate. Okay, so there's this period of time. It was something about this time last year when I went to that almost divorce with my wife, and I was totally destroyed. The construct itself was atrophied to the point that to most people will seem like I'm depressed. Okay, so usually when this thing happen, what you're going to do is you have a chance to actually change somewhat the fantasy. You have an opportunity to actually change the software, update it a little bit. And once you update it, You update it based on why people rejected the fantasy in the first place. So in this case, I was too abusive, right? People rejected that. So when I uh, went into that let's call it hibernation, okay? When I just slowed down, updated some new programming in my brain, I have an opportunity to slightly change the fantasy. It's not by much, okay? It's not by much, but it's enough for me to do so that I can function better when I do go back into the real world, right? So this is more for people who's trying to, figure out why exactly we do what we do. Okay. Having said that, those things are pretty clear cut when you think about it. All right, it makes sense. But the 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 fourth one, okay, this is what's the weirdest to me, the most mystery. I would need to actually find a partner. Okay, so I have some conjectures why we do that. Okay, I have some conjectures why we do that, but there is this apart from trying to avoid all the pain, right? One of our biggest need is to actually find a partner. We have this unbelievable compulsion to do so. I mean, to the point that we don't want to think about anything else. This unbelievable compulsion to find a partner, so we look like we're romantics and all that kind of stuff. So I have some conjecture, okay, all right. So if you go to Sam Vaknin and everything, they'll tell you about dead mothers and everything. But here's what I think it actually is: you're outsourcing, you outsourcing your feelings of guilt. You're outsourcing your conscience somehow. Like for me, right? Every single person that I try to partner with are people with very strong principles, very strong independence, and a very strong conscience. Meaning here, they try to do a lot of good in the world. For some reason, I'm attracted to these people. I'm not attracted to people who don't have principles. I'm not attracted to people who, uh, follow where the wind blows. I'm attracted to people who are, lack for a better word, strength or strong. And from what I see, from what I'm able to observe, it seems like I'm outsourcing my conscience to them. Okay, what do I mean by that, right? So most of my wife, for example, very empathic person. Okay, although she tries to say she's not. Okay, probably because of my fault as well. All right, meaning here, right? She actually feels what other people feel. She can actually feel actual joy. Like for me, right? If let's say I give charity, okay, yeah, I give someone food, and the dude like smiles and everything. I don't feel any emotion from that guy. Meaning here, I don't feel joy. I suppose. Okay, I don't feel any connection giving you the food. It's more like I'm doing this for something else. Okay, but you can see from people who do have empathy, warm empathy, the act of giving, for example, and seeing the other person being happy makes them happy. You know, so it makes me feel that somehow the programming is making us search for these kind of people, making us search for these kind of people because it just feels so easy, so easy for them. They look genuine, like for me, in order for me to look genuine, it requires a lot of brain power, right? Lot of brain power. If not, I'll come out looking like a robot when I try to really speak the way I want to speak. So trying to simulate certain emotions or whatever requires a lot of effort in my part. Okay, while someone with you know genuine empathy seems to be able to do it effortlessly, and then they are able to navigate this. They're able to navigate people, so to speak, easily as well. People connect to them easily, right? Whereas I will be exhausted after a while. Yes, yes, that's the reason. That's the reason. When I do charity, when I do good work, it's mostly for clout and to look good. Or one more thing, just to make my wife feel happy. Now, here's the weird thing, right? Here's the weird thing. Somehow, it feels like I can start feeling things when she's doing her stuff. When she's doing things, and I watch her face, read her mind, it feels like at the edges of my mind, like I can feel something else. Because for me, out of all the people in the world, right? Out of all the people in the world, I trust my wife the most. Okay? I trust my wife the most. Insofar as I can trust someone as close like my wife. On the other hand, my wife is also the one that caused me the most pain. Right? So it's kind of like a dichotomy. Right? So there's a conflict in that. When it's good, it gets good. When it's bad, it gets bad. All right. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. She as we get closer together, I suppose, uh, this dance that we have, this dance of pain and pleasure, all right, I'm trying to be able to tolerate better nowadays. Okay, which is good, I suppose. Right. Okay. Having said that, that is my conjecture why narcissists will look for very empathic people. Right. So probably that's one reason why people are attracted to empaths. Okay, they are real. They are real. Okay, here's another conjecture. I think deep in my mind, I know the only way for me to achieve my goal is to work together with someone with some empathic, uh, with a strong empathic capabilities. Like yin and yang. You could look at me as the ultimate. I don't know which one's the male side. Yang, yin, okay, whatever. The ultimate male side of things, meaning here aggressiveness, action oriented, uh, relentless, whatever you want to call it, the hard things in life. While my wife would be the softer side of things. It's like we it's like we specialize already. Okay? It's like we specialize ourselves. Right? Now you might ask me, okay, how does this work? How does a narcissist and empath work in real life? Okay, so I can imagine a lot of different ways, but this is how we usually work, me and my wife. Okay, so we work in the same place. Okay, we created our own business. All right, chiefly because I can't work under anyone else due to my grandiosity. All right, and my penchant for defiance. So we made our own business. Now, here's the deal. All right, I want one thing that's automated in narcissists is our ability to manipulate. It's automatic. I'm I have no idea how to stop it. It's just automatic. It's probably habitual already as well. So it's automatic. Somehow we look at cues in a certain way and we are able to manipulate to do so, and we have no compulsion of doing it. Right? We'll just do it. All right. It used to be when I manipulate, I set it around myself. Or sooner or later, what's going to happen is people's going to start noticing that I'm not really very uh, sincere. Meaning here, right? Since I tailor what I look like to different people, I'm very good at one to one. But when it involves a huge amount of people, then people start noticing I'm talking differently to other people as well. While my wife, being so empathic, is basically the same person wherever she goes. Okay? So how we usually work is uh, I'll manipulate everyone around me to actually focus on my wife. And then my wife will do her thing, do empathic thing, do her charismatic, make people love her kind of thing. Just by existing, I guess. So you got that going for you guys. But I do notice that the narcissistic side of me is very, very automated. I'm not sure. That sucks or good? All right. Anyway, this is for the self-aware narcissist, guys. This is for the self-aware narcissist. Now, if you resonate with what I say, and you can see that it's some kind of OCD, okay? That you feel like it's an OCD, that you can feel the compulsion. All right. Don't try to fight it, guys. You don't try to fight it. Okay. Now, you already have your dharma. Okay. You already have your goal. What you need to focus on is to achieve those goals. All right. That's what you need to focus on. And here's the deal: you don't need to hurt people to get it. Probably whatever you want, right? You want a world where nothing hurts you, right? Everyone wants that. Oh, everyone wants that. So whatever you try to achieve, you're gonna give everyone else. Why not do it together? You don't need to, hurt other people to get what you want. Yeah, he gets it. I gets it. Everyone can get a no pain life, no shame, no guilt, right? So you gotta start practicing with your primary relationship. Okay, all right. You gotta tell them. You gotta be open. You gotta tell them what exactly you mean when you mean a world without pain. Okay, just share it, man. Okay, if the person, I can guarantee you, all right, the if you say it, it'll resonate with people. I mean, then they'll help you. They'll help you uh, voluntarily. No, you don't need to manipulate or whatever, man. Okay. Here's what I'm gonna tell you as well for all those self-aware narcissists. You're gonna get pain anywhere. Okay, you can go to US, you can go to this country or that country. You're gonna get pain anyway. So you might as well choose where you're gonna get the pain from. Okay, you might as well choose where you're gonna get your pain from. Make it worth it. Let it have some meaning in your life. You're gonna get it anyway, anywhere else. So you might as well stick to a pain has some kind of meaning to it. Don't become like this other low level narcissists. I call them low level just because they don't see the bigger picture. The bigger picture is always the The dream. That is the bigger picture. Achieve it. You're not gonna achieve it if you make yourself look bad. You know, tell other people that narcissists can't change. Tell other people uh, the world's gonna get destroyed, or all this kind of bullshit. Sometimes Sam Vaknin likes to talk about. HG Tudor likes to talk about guys like, well, to a certain extent, guys like Lee Harmon or Brian talks about. I mean, come on, give ourselves some credit, man. Give ourselves some credit. Okay? Only thing you need to do to achieve what you want, stop abusing people. That's it. Stop abusing people. All right? That's all we need to do. I'm not saying that you don't, you out of nowhere turn into an empath or whatever that like that, or you suddenly destroy the your construct somehow, which I believe you can't do. You just need to go with the flow. Remember, the goal is always to try to avoid the pain. And you don't need to hurt other people to achieve it. I mean, they can just join in, man. Put that in you guys' mind. Focus on the goal. You got a dharma already. So focus on it. All right? All right. In any case, I think that's enough for today. Thanks, Jody Landis, for being here. All right. So I'll see you guys in the next stream.